let's just state the obvious here, which is that God of War Ragnarok is a masterpiece. It has some truly incredible writing, some epic boss fights, and just so much crazy good combat. I've already done a big deep dive review of the game itself that's spoiler free. It's about 20 minutes long, going over every single detail of this. But now it's time to talk about the story itself, to really spoil the ending, the secret ending, and the grander context to what this means to the future of God of War. Now, this is your only spoiler warning. I'm about to talk about all of the delicious little secrets, so be ready for that. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, are you ready? Buckle up. Now, the ending of God of War 2018 heavily implied that Kratos was going to die. Not just eventually, it made it seem like he was going to die in the very near future, perhaps because of the events of Ragnarok. And in a way, Kratos is dead. Or maybe I should say, Kratos lives, but the God of War is definitely deceased. At the very end of the game, after you've defeated Odin and his evil forces, there's this really beautiful somber moment where the control switches over to Atreus and we're just walking through this nice icy house. There's all the people we've met, the characters we've encountered, the heroes we've managed to rescue, and each of them has some interesting words of parting. Thrud talks about the meaning of family. We see the light and dark elves discussing their love of Freyr and his charisma. We get this very deep, sense that this is a time to say goodbye to the God of War we know. And at the top of the hill, control switches over to Kratos, and we see they approach a final mural. Now, we've seen a lot of these throughout the course of God of War 2018, and now a ton of them in God of War Ragnarok. Each of these is detailing a different prophecy, whether it is the death of Odin, the discovery of knowledge, the fall of the giants, or in this case, the end of the story of Kratos. Kratos and Atreus just take a moment to appreciate this final big mural that really shows their adventure, their fulfilled prophecy of saving these lands, and more than that, being the heroes that they were destined to be, despite all the weird gobbledygook with fate and timelines. It's at this point that Atreus says goodbye, that he declares that he needs to go on his own journey, and with Kratos' blessing, he allows them to go, to try and find the last of the giants, wherever they may be, even if they exist in different pantheons, which I want to talk about here in a bit. Now, what's beautiful about this moment is not only do Kratos and Atreus openly weep and embrace, it's cool to see this father-son moment that's just so beautifully written, but I like that Kratos says, Loki is going, Atreus stays right here. Throughout the course of this game, we saw a lot of the passing of the torch. Throughout the course of this game, we see a lot of detail of the passing of the torch. The fact that, Kratos wants Atreus to take over for him. Not as the God of War, but just as a person, as a hero, as somebody that can defend their family. I like the fact that there's like a great moment where Kratos is apologizing for the mistakes he's made. The times where he told him to close his heart or be cold. And Atreus, completely seriously, says the famous Kratos line, "Do not be sorry, be better." And Kratos just smiles. There is such a wonderfully written strength to these characters that seems so utterly realistic. But then, as we watch Atreus leave, as he goes around the corner, he talks to his friend and gives one final glance to Kratos and then steps off camera. Seemingly, it's implied into a portal to some far-off land. Now, I think that the next game is going to have Atreus as the main character, and I think Kratos isn't going to be in it at all because of the next mural. As Atreus vanishes, we just see Kratos stuck in this almost fugue state of that deep emotional loss of how do I even deal with, such a happy and a sad moment. He's clearly proud that Atreus is being his own man and is able to defend himself and has all that inner and outer strength, but he's still kind of digesting it when he discovers a second mural. Now, some people, I believe, are a bit confused by this. It shows what seems to be a fulfilled prophecy of the fall of Odin. It shows, iconic scenes like Kratos fighting Thor. You see the battles we've waged over the course of this 30-hour campaign, but at the end is a shot of a golden Kratos. Now, I think that this is metaphorical. We see Kratos cry and touch it with genuine appreciation. He's happy to see it. He sees the people, well, loving him, of worshiping him as the god he's always meant to be. Now, I think that this is a callback to the earlier line by Odin. At one point, Odin decides to just surprise show up and sort of trash talk Kratos. And one of the things he says is, "You are not a god. You've never been worshipped. The people don't love you. You can't even imagine." Now, of course, Odin meant this as a taunt, to act like him being a ageless tyrant who rules over the 9 realms somehow makes him better than, well, Kratos, even if Kratos is doing the right thing. And I like that it feels like they've turned that on its head and showed that at the end of the game, Kratos is now the god of peace. He has saved the lands. He has managed to rebuild this place, make it stronger, unite the people, and end things like the conflict between the elves, and bring the dwarves back into the fold. I mean, this is just so deeply and utterly beautiful, because I do truly think that now the original mural of Kratos dying, I think that this is symbolic. This is all of the sins of the past finally leaving Kratos. He has talked a lot about the forgiveness he's trying to find for killing his wife and daughter 1,000,000 years ago, for all the pantheons he's destroyed. Kratos has caused a lot of destruction. Even if you love his character, even if you love his past games, Kratos himself will admit that he has damaged everything he's ever touched, except for his wife, Faye. During a lot of the dream sequences, we see that Faye, more than anything else, she wanted Kratos to love himself, to love Atreus, to love her, to finally accept love. These scenes are just so wonderfully written. So the fact that after the game ends, Kratos and Atreus are done. With Atreus gone, the credits roll and we have a chance to just walk and see everybody who worked on this masterpiece of a game and sort of ourselves try and process the things we've witnessed. But that brings me to the other aspect of this, which is the after credit scene and the death of Brock. Now, I am a little bit biased here. I think the entire writing between Sindri and Brock is probably, personally, my very favorite part of the entire game. Not only are they very funny, not only are they very personable, but the death of Brock really hit home because recently I lost one of my brothers. And to be honest, I'm still dealing with it. It's been a very recent loss, and I'm still honestly in denial. I'm still hard to think that he's gone. And Sindri and Brock's relationship is so interestingly written. Having Sindri and Brock be such amazing background characters that help you constantly move the plot along, creating new inventions like the awesome spear we get, or even just sometimes those moments where they're arguing about dinner, it feels so realistically crafted. But Sindri talks a bit about his dark secret at one point. In one of the early Atreus missions, Sindri admits that Brock died a long time ago. He had some sort of accident, and in the process, he accidentally passed away. And Sindri could not accept the death of his brother, so he went to the Well of Souls and he tried to rebuild him. Now, we're not sure exactly what went wrong, but he said that he could only find certain parts of his soul. So we only have 3/4 of Brock back. Now, what this means is that, well, a lot of creatures that are more spiritual in nature, like the weird fairy woman lady in the water thing that we encounter, she can't even see Brock because he is currently soulless. But Brock doesn't even take this as an insult. Brock still does his job. He still blesses the beautiful spear himself. Brock is still Brock. Even if he's not complete, he's still being the best brother and the best blacksmith he can possibly be. Watching their familiar bond build the same way alongside the growth of Atreus and Kratos, I feel like this is a sign about the fact that really the loss of Brock is the loss that everybody is experiencing in these very beautiful Norse lands. But let's talk about the secret ending, because This really hit home. After you finish the game and as you leave to go out on your further adventures, to do all the end game stuff, to finish the side quests you've definitely missed already, this is when you have a chance to just go wherever you want. And somebody offhandedly mentions that they're having a funeral for Brock, that if you choose to do so, you can go back to Svartalfheim, I always forget how to pronounce it, the Dwarven town. You go there, go to the bar, and they have a very beautiful memorial in honor of Brock, where Kratos says that he has not had many friends, but Brock was definitely one of them. Then you carry his body to the shores, you give him a true Viking funeral, you push the boat off into the waters, and Sindri himself lights it ablaze. It's beautiful, it's deep, but you can also see the pain in Sindri. Sindri refuses to speak, he will not accept condolences, and he vanishes. And then after this second set of credits, you can talk to the other characters that are still sitting there in stunned disbelief. And somebody says, I wonder if there are afterlives to the afterlives. I like to imagine he's there, causing quite a ruckus. I do think that this is a silent nod towards the future of God of War. I do think that this is it. I do think that this is the end. Kratos and Atreus are done. They're probably not going to encounter each other for a very long time. I do have a feeling that they may do some Atreus games, and I would definitely play the heck out of those. I still think that a lot of the fact that half this game you were playing as Atreus is still kind of bonkers to me, because that was quite a ballsy move to take so much focus away from Kratos. But it was so well done. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the combat, the separate trees for them, I'm just stunned by it. But I do feel like that the proper ending, the proper theme for Kratos now is non-violence. The fact that he refused to kill Thor, the fact that he asked for peace for each and every person he encountered. He pretty much begged people to just find a way of non-violence. I think that's utterly beautiful. At the very end of the game, they finally solve the riddle that's been brought up again and again throughout it. Brock asked a simple question. What gets bigger the more you take away? Mimir puzzled over this throughout the game, saying things like love. The more you miss somebody, the more that love can grow. Maybe it's something like loss. The more you miss somebody, the more you actually grow to miss them. Whereas that's not the correct solution. The real correct solution to this puzzle that Brock put forward to prank us is that the more you take away, the bigger it grows, is a hole. And Brock definitely left a hole in all of us. I truly love the story of God of War Ragnarok. I feel like I'm never going to forget it. I'm going to be pondering it for months, if not years to come. And obviously, it helps people who have dealt with loss sort of process that loss. I love this game very much. And even if it is just a video game, sometimes art helps us explain the pain we feel. I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you all enjoyed God of War Ragnarok as much as I did. Please have a good day, hugged a loved one, text somebody that you really miss, and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.